medieval women, had a sort of better time in some ways than women today, which is kind of counterintuitive. So is that what you want to do? You want to sort of, and then you have something called the AWC, which was an artist collective. So although it's depressing, you're seeing, we're in a sort of depressing neoliberal situation. You're also seeing positive things emerging.
Yeah, I think the reason that I want to sort of point and to bring together these different types of work, these sort of disparate types of work into one book, was to say that like we are all facing similar conditions in a way, even though the conditions of a retail worker are very different than the conditions of a computer programmer, which are also very different from the conditions of somebody who works in a charity. Yet we're all facing a lot of similar pressures, and we can all learn a lot from each other. How to improve that work. And, the thing that I would say is that it ultimately doesn't matter whether you like your job. What you need to make your life livable is going to be fairly similar, whether you have a job that you love or a job that you hate, or like most of us, sometimes you like your job and sometimes you hate your job. There are definitely days where I want to tear my hair out, and there are other days where I'm like, my job is pretty cool, actually. And either way, what I need is decent pay. I need time off. I need to be able to stop answering emails at some reasonable hour of the day, right? I need healthcare because I'm an American and we don't have the NHS. I have to have health insurance somehow. So all of these things that people need, right, are sort of like your job agnostic, right? The thing that made the industrial job good was not that industrial labor was somehow better than service labor. What made it good was that workers for hundreds of years, this is, where E.P. Thompson comes in, and being compared to E.P. Thompson is like the greatest compliment I could ever get, is, for hundreds of years, people were organizing and fighting back against the bosses to try to make their conditions of work livable and not make them, so I can enjoy the job myself. But, for hundreds of years, the main demand of labor movements was less work.
With less work, very simply.
Right. It was, we want shorter hours. It was 12-hour day and then 10-hour day and then the 8-hour day. Right. It was to get back, the 8 hours for work, 8 hours for rest, 8 hours for what we will. It was that ability to have the what we will back. And that, I think, is what the narrative of loving your job is sort of trying to colonize on us. It's trying to say that, like, well, the job is what you would prefer to be doing, isn't it? And therefore it's fine if you do it all the time. And so the things that we actually need that, the workers in the book are organizing around and are making demands around. Those are things that we all can relate to, again, no matter how much we may like or dislike our jobs. And again, I think most of us probably like and dislike our jobs at various times, that nobody is sort of perfectly passionate and thrilled about their job all the time. And nobody is entirely miserable there all the time, although maybe some people might be. That kind of idea that what we need is to get more people into the kinds of jobs you can like, leaves out that there's always going to be work that needs to be done in society that's going to kind of suck, right? As long as we are using our little technologically powered whatever, we're going to need to keep digging things out of the ground. Whether we're going to green energy, we still need to dig up lithium and rare minerals that make up solar cells. Like, there's a lot of work to be done that probably sucks. So instead of thinking like, oh, well, I just need to get myself a job that I'm passionate about, the questions that I want to ask are much more about how do we make sure that everybody has safe and protected conditions so that the work that they do isn't torturing them, breaking their bodies, making them miserable, fatal, things like that. Rather than saying that, like, the way forward, which is a very neoliberal argument, right, is us individually making sure we get individual jobs that we individually enjoy.